Okay, I think we are ready to get started with the League of Women Voters Forum for the Moorhead Mayor election. I'm going to start with a couple of announcements. First of all, there is a table in the back there's a need for election judges in Moorhead at the November 6th general election. There are 15 polling places and a full complement of 8 or 9 judges at each location. Moorhead needs at least 21 more people willing to serve as election judges. Voting at the local precinct is the first and most important step of our democratic process, and election judges play a pivotal role in this important endeavor. So there is a table in the back if anyone is interested in doing that, and I believe there's also a sign up on the City of Moorhead website. So, moving on, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, candidates. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. Thanks to the candidates, the Moorhead Library and Moorhead Community Access Media, who will record and make the forums available online. Also, thank you to our volunteers for assisting with this forum. The rules for the forum will be that each candidate will have 1.5 minutes or 90 seconds for an opening statement and 90 minutes for a closing statement. They'll also have 90 seconds to answer each question. We have our timer, Carol, who will be sitting in the front row, and she will have signs to tell you when there's 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and there is a bell if anyone really wants to make Carol do that. And just some information that this is a forum, it's not a town hall session. Therefore, I will be reading all of the questions that come directly from the audience. There are volunteers around that have note cards and pens for whoever wants to ask a question. Similar questions may be grouped together just so because we are limited in time. And then questions also must be written so that all candidates will be able to answer them. In other words, they can't be directed at individual candidates. And so if you have a question that is directed, it needs to be a little bit more broad so everyone does have the opportunity to answer. With that, we will begin. And so we're going to start with the 90 seconds of opening statements. And Nuzad Brifki, we will start with you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It's really an honor to see such a huge crowd. And my name is Nuzad Brifki. I am from Moorhead. I was not born here, but I've been here almost my whole life. I graduated from Moorhead Senior High in 2003, went to M State in 2004, then went to MSUM for my undergrad, and then got my MBA from the University of Mary. I am married and have 3 children. 2 of my kids are in the Moorhead Public Schools. Paven is 6, Lauren is 4, and Parwar is 2. My background, Nuzad Brifki. Nuzad, you're probably thinking, what's Nuzad? We've never heard of that name. It's of Kurdish descent. From Kurdistan region of Iraq. That's where I was born. For work, I've been doing nonprofit work since 2004. I run the Kurdish Community of America, consulting company, Brifki Consulting, part-time school teacher at the Moorhead Area Public Schools, and an author of a book called My Journey to America. It's about my experience of my family coming here and me growing up here and going through everything. And again, I am honored to be with everyone tonight, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Opening statement.
Good evening. I'm Brenda Elmer. I've been on the City Council for 2 terms representing the 3rd Ward, the southwest part of the city. I've lived in Moorhead for more than 20 years, so I'm a resident here. I'm married to my college sweetheart, Corey, and we have 3 boys in the Moorhead Public Schools. Christian in 12th grade, Jack in 9th grade, and Blake in 5th grade. I'm a business owner. I've been elected, as I stated, to the 3rd Ward 2 times, and I serve as the current mayor pro tem, filling in once in a while for the mayor from time to time. I've enjoyed my public service. It's been really an honor to serve, and I've met so many wonderful people throughout this community, and I'm running because we are on the cusp of some great things in Moorhead, and I want to continue that.
Thank you. And Jonathan Judd, your opening statement.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Judd. I am a newbie here in this realm. I have lived in Fargo Moorhead off and on since 1990. I graduated from Fargo North High School in 1990, where I moved up from Raleigh, North Carolina. And I remained here because the weather was so awesome. So I can barely get my mother to come up here to visit me, but you know, everything works itself out. After I graduated from high school at Fargo North, I went to North Dakota State University, where I majored in political science and history. After that, I went to the UND School of Law, where I finished up in 1999. I am married to Tammy Fortney. We have 3 children, Oliver, Davy, and Monroe, 13, 10, and 8. I currently am working as a solo practitioner attorney here in Moorhead with Judd Law P. LLC. Pretty much my professional career has been working in public service in some capacity as a public defender, assistant Clay County attorney, and I've also served on a number of nonprofit boards in the city of Moorhead. I'm running for mayor because I have a lot of experience working on boards, working in building community. There's plenty of people who I know who have a lot of ideas and how to make our city stronger economically. And so I like to take all those ideas that I'm learning about and in my experience and take it to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the first question, we're going to start with Brenda, and we're going to kind of work our way through, starting with a different candidate for each question. So the first question is, as mayor, how do you plan to engage with college students? And also, I've been told that everyone needs to get really close to the mics.
No, not yet. There we go. My ward contains the campus of Concordia College, and so for the last 8 years, I regularly hear from college students. I try to go to the Student Government Association on a regular basis. They contact me about on-street parking, sustainability, the bus service, rental conditions. And so, you know, I'm used to working with them one-on-one on a constituent level, and then also a lot of the surrounding neighborhoods around MSUM. And I was just door knocking there yesterday talking to some students about how we would like to engage them even further. And I know how it is. I was a student at MSUM and I was in my own little world most of the time. But they are such a huge part of our community. One of the ideas I had, and I passed on to, I think it was the technical college president, the outgoing one, Peggy Kennedy, was in keeping with our economic development efforts, is to also engage them by bringing them even closer to our downtown. You know, the culinary arts program at the tech school is wonderful. The idea they were working on upon my prompting was to have a little presence downtown, a soup and sandwich presence where they could get more experience with actual customers, and they're kind of the best kept secret in Moorhead, in my opinion. So there's lots of ways. That's just one of them. I certainly would ask that if we can find them that are willing to serve on some of our committees. I know on the bus committee or the transit committee that I served on, it was a lot about students. And I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jonathan Judd.
Thank you. I think we need to have student engagement primarily because, for one, they are the future, and one, they have a voice. And economically speaking, we have 3 campuses here, and I kind of relate this to my hometown, Raleigh, because we have NC State, Chapel, or NC State, Carolina, and Duke. So how I see it is this: we need our college students to be engaged in some capacity. Civil engagement is good because, one, they are economically committed to our community. We need college students. We need engagement. First and foremost, what I think we should do to get them politically active and engaged in our community so that they have a say is I think we need to reconsider putting our voting stations back on campus for one reason: the future. We need to consider growing our own and keeping them here. The workforce depends upon our college students and the fact that they are going to remain in this community, and we need to start planning a future with the students. We need to have them being able to, one, be active, two, have a say. As our city grows, they're going to have a say because we want those students to live here, work here, buy homes here, become professionals, and even grow old here. We need to be sure that we strengthen the connection with our college students and for those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nuzad.
Well, going to M State and MSUM, I'm kind of familiar with how it is being a college student at those campuses. With Concordia College, I've done a lot of presentations with their classes and the professors over there, and being engaged with the cultural center. Our campuses are very diverse. They come from all over the country, all over the world. It's something really amazing to provide more entertainment for our college students. I mean, they're struggling, hitting their books, they're reading all the time, and afterwards, on the weekends or when they have time off, where do they go, where do they eat, where do they enjoy themselves for the time being? And they go to Fargo. So, trying to do something in downtown that they can walk to and making it a more walking-friendly environment close to campus, and more opportunities, to be honest with you. Trying to get more businesses here so they have a career to look forward to in the future and call Moorhead their home, just like Brenda did, her and her husband. So,
thank you. And for the next question, we will start with Jonathan, and that is, how do you see yourself working with both the state legislative delegation and our U.S. Rep and U.S. Senators?
Well, what I would like to look at is whoever you elect as mayor is going to have to be serving as an advocate and as an ambassador for our city. I think how you would look at working with them, regardless of what letter is after their name, it's going to have to be a situation where we build a case for economic development. And how you do that is engaging with the population and having a listening sessions, more than just one. We're going to have to be able to engage with a diverse group of community and listen. And we have to listen to students, business owners, families, people who have a vested interest in this community regardless of where you are and where you sit. And then what we have to do is your ambassador has to go back and build that case for this city as a whole. We have to go and listen and say, hello, state rep, hello, federal rep, hello, insert person in St. Paul and Washington here. We need your help as a city. Whether we're engaged in it's regarding economic development, business development, anything of that nature, it doesn't matter. We have to be able to tell our leaders in St. Paul and Washington that we are united front, and we're here to build upon that strength. And as your ambassador, I would promise to do that.
Thank you. And the same question for Nuzad.
Well, it's all about the relationship building, just making sure, that we're, as a city, we're following laws and regulations set in place by the state, by federal government, and bringing our issues with these representatives and senators or whoever it may be, issues such as the opiate crisis. How do we deal with it? What resources can we have? Immigration, education, how do we bring forth, we need more for our campuses, border city incentives, we need more money so we can compete with Fargo, and things like this. It's just about relationship building and making sure that our issues are being said and presented, and that's all I could say on that level.
Thank you. And finally, with Brenda.
Yeah, this has been something that I really enjoy working on as a city council person. I did work at the state capitol right out of college for a couple of years as political science major. I know the legislative process. I would use it probably a little more assertively than we have been. And it's all the more critical for Moorhead, being a border community right on the front lines, right on the border, a stone's throw, and such stark differences in our state laws. We spend so much time focusing on non-local issues because we are a border community. And we do get a great benefit from being part of the Border Cities program. I have some ideas on how to supersize that to even the playing field a little bit, especially as it relates to our business community. And I still have relationships both at the state and federal level on both sides of the political aisle that I would continue to develop and build those relationships. But we also need to show our state and federal officials more. You know, they try to be familiar with all of our issues in Moorhead. We need to go beyond our own representatives that represent us and even reach out to committee chairs or legislative leadership so that they can see what Moorhead's needs are and how it would also benefit the state and federal levels as well. It's not just a favor to Moorhead, and we need to make a better case for that so that they can truly see themselves as a partner in some of that growth and development that we could be taking advantage of.
Thank you. For the next question, we will start with Nuzad, and that is, Moorhead for years has been trying to attract new businesses. With the downtown redevelopment becoming a major project in the coming years, what is your background in business, and how would you lead Moorhead in attracting new businesses?
Well, I got my bachelor's degree in business administration and my master's in business administration. Like I said before, in terms of businesses, more border city incentives are good for us. I think we need to be a more business-friendly community, and that's all that to all that to that. More resources like capitals for more capital for individuals who want to start a business but have issues. We have to go through West Central initiatives in Fergus Falls to get a loan. I mean, that is ridiculous. Why can't the EDA representative be in charge of that, giving loans to people who want to start a business, the capital that they need? We need to invite bigger corporations. And how do we do that? We give them a longer tax incentive. And like I said in the beginning, Minnesota, it's one of the highest tax places in the United States. Actually, it's the 11th largest in the country. So having a new governor, they're going to decide on the tax rate, and yeah, that's how I would go about businesses.
Thank you. Brenda.
I've made this a priority my time on the council, and this is why. It's more than just about the amenities and the businesses that we would all like to see here. It's also about our tax base and diversifying and strengthening it. With almost 25 or over 25% of our land parcels in Moorhead is tax exempt, it leaves us struggling every year at budget time. Just to maintain the services and the facilities that we do own, let alone add anything new. And so for me, that would be priority one. I have experience doing that as a business owner previously in other jobs that I've had where I've focused on business development, so the relationships are important to me. When I was on the Economic Development Authority, I pushed hard to create that special position so that there would be a key point contact and not someone that had 12 other things on their list, business development being number one for the city, and that has really paid off. And now with our new relationship with Downtown Moorhead Incorporated, so I'm very active. To this date, I would continue doing that, not just vowing to you, but actually building on those relationships and doing more of that I already have. So the growth and the momentum you're seeing downtown is not simply a fluke. It has been the groundwork that the council and the mayor have laid, especially the last 2 years, the hard work that we've done, customer service, a business-friendly culture, revamping, our tax incentives, all of that is paying off.
Thank you. Jonathan.
Use my time if you need to. Can you please give me the first part of that question again? I'm sorry. If you need to use my time, that's fine.
Oh, no, you'll be fine.
Being last has its detriment sometimes.
Well, it's good to remind everyone of the question as well. And so Moorhead for years has been trying to attract new businesses. With the downtown redevelopment becoming a major project in the coming years, what is your background in business, and how would you lead Moorhead in attracting new business?
Well, let's just make this simple. It's a lot of what Brenda just said is what it is. It's relationship building. Here's the deal. My background in business is relationship building. I've been in relationship building since 1990, since I got here. A lot of my friends from NDSU are now running businesses or heading businesses over in Fargo. And again, from my serving on the Moorhead Youth Hockey Association board, I've met a lot of other business owners, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, corporate, you name it. Here's the deal. Again, it's the same quote I said on the Jay Thomas show. My friend told me, you can't ask people to invest dollars if it doesn't make sense. And here's the deal. With Moorhead, we as a community need to identify what we want. What is our identity? City Manager Volker stated in our candidate meeting with the city staff, we are a city of nonprofits. Okay? So we know we need to increase our tax base. We know that downtown Moorhead is doing a great job in building relationships to promote why people should do business in Moorhead. Let's just strengthen it. Let's build more relationships. Let's get involved, the entrepreneurs here in Moorhead, which I know Mr. LaPointe and his organization is doing, and let's talk about the positives. We will support Moorhead-based businesses. Each one of you have. And you will continue to do so. We have to make these businesses successful, and we will continue to do that if I am there.
Thank you. For our next question, we will start with Brenda. And we have a couple of questions on this, which is, what is your leadership style, and how will it be helpful to the city?
Sure. My leadership style is not to surround myself with people who have similar, same views as me. I find that when I see that, it's more work and more struggle on the back end because you run into trouble later on by not including people you know that might have concerns or people that might have a very different view. And so also I kind of think of myself as a workhorse on the council, not necessarily a show horse. It's more than just going to the meetings. And it's the part I probably enjoy the most is going out there, seeing a problem, not saying, there's nothing we can do about it, which is what prompted me to run in the first place for city council. Too often times I heard that. I don't take that for an answer. I like to go out, find out what the base of the problem is, talk to people who might be impacted, who have experience with that. So it's a lot of the legwork. I've really enjoyed door knocking this time around because it's more than just people in your own contacts, especially when it comes to appointing citizens to committees and so forth. So I'm really excited for refreshing my contacts with all kinds of great people throughout the community, the diversity, the different perspectives and opinions, the kind of people that aren't going to walk into City Hall. So I had to come up and knock on their door first. So thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan.
I guess to simplify it again, I would say my leadership style is one that is consensus building, know when to stay in your lane, let people smarter than you do the work that they're supposed to do, that they have been tasked to do. That's pretty much it. Look, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to have answers to everything because I'm going to tell you, I don't know it all, and my wife tells me that every single day. But I will tell you, I like creative tension. My campaign committee is a bunch of creative tension. We discuss things and grind it out, and everybody's from a diverse background to the T. You welcome that because that's how good decisions get made. So I have no problem telling you that my leadership style is also one of humility, Because again, I know that there are people who are smarter than me, and I welcome and I listen to everything they have to tell me, so I can make sure that as your mayor, I will make a positive, informed decision. Again, this is not about me. This is about you. And if you tell me that there's someone I need to talk to, and many of you who are sitting here tonight, you've done that already in the last 6 or 7 weeks because they are experts in their particular field, I'm going to them and I'm listening. I'm keeping my mouth shut so I can learn something. So that's my leadership style.
Thank you. And Nuzad.
I would say I'm a visionary. I have a vision. I have a plan for the future of the city of Moorhead. I'm hungry for growth. And I'm a nice guy. I can get along with everybody. And moving forward, we can't just move forward without a vision for the future, where we want to be, how we're going to get there without a plan. And you bring people in, what are you going to talk about if you don't have an agenda? You need an agenda to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. What do you think? Should we do this? Should we move on? Are you going to pay for it or not? So in the end, I guess my leadership style is I include everyone. I will unite everyone in the city with us being so divided. And I will improve the city of Moorhead. I'm not saying I have the magic wand to fix everything, but I know we will accomplish a lot in the next 4 years.
Thank you. In our next question, we will start with Jonathan, and that is, I'm going to combine a couple of questions, but one is, what would your 100-day plan include and why? And then it relates to, what is your number one priority if you are elected mayor?
Whoa, okay, 100 days, huh? Dream big. I would say the first 100 days would be a lot of what I just said. I mean, I have to listen and learn. There's a learning curve here. That's why I don't have all the answers. The first 100 days would be building relationships with my new colleagues on the council and kind of figure out, what they're all about and what they have to offer and what they're going to bring to the table in their own leadership. I think that's a fair assessment. So honestly, the first 100 days would be listening, much of what I'm doing now, being able to build relationships and trust and rapport with not only council, but to the extent, and I'm not sure, again, I'm green here, if I can, talk with Ms. Volkers and city staff and meet all the city heads and kind of just sit and listen to what's going on. What's the history? I'm a history major. Learn the history of how we got to where we are. What's going on presently, and what is your vision for the future? 100 days is too short of a time to come in and start saying anything, and so I think I would even go probably past 100 days to continue learning. My number one priority would probably be just to go out and get to know the community. There's a lot of people around here who I don't know that probably want to know who I am and what I'm about. So a lot of what I'm doing now with the door knocking, I don't think it should stop after you get elected. I still think it's okay to have a forum just like this and invite people to come and see and hear what you're all about.
Thank you. And Nuzad.
Well, I would try to get as much information from Delray Williams as I could. She's done a fantastic job, and I want to continue to do that, lead the way in the right direction. So what I would do is just meeting with the different city departments, city heads, like Jonathan Judd said, law enforcement, city manager, economic development authority, and other stakeholders in our city. So that's how I would go about it. And then I would start on the underpass project on 11th Street right away, to be honest with you, and getting work done on downtown and starting to do something about that. Making it a more business-friendly community. Start talking about our empty buildings. How are we gonna, make those businesses come alive again? And so, talking to the owners of the properties of these buildings. What projects do they have in mind? What kind of vision do they have for the future? What kind of tax breaks are they getting? There's going to be a lot to chew on within the first 100 days, but I have a plan, and we'll get to work.
Thank you. And Brenda.
Being it would be early November with just the legislative session right around the corner, that would probably be front and center in my 100-day plan. We'll have passed a legislative priority list at the council level sometime in the month of November. We kind of know some of the things that are likely to be on it, ongoing, some of the issues we've been working on. Recycling facility, doing that jointly with the county. Funding for the underpass. There's sure to be flood protection issues there too, asked both at the federal and state levels. So that would, just because of the timing, that would probably be high on my list. And then also, like was said, Jonathan too, even though I could hit the ground running, it is a little bit of a different role, mayor, as opposed to a city council person. I don't pretend to have all the answers either, so just getting used to my new role as a council member, especially before the new city manager, we were limited in kind of dealing with staff. There was a little bit of a firewall. And so I would probably try to get to know them a little bit, because right now it's only when they're at the podium presenting at our council meetings. And they are just a wealth of knowledge. And so that would be high on my list. Sitting down with the new city council. We've had a lot of turnover in recent years. We're going to have some more turnover. And so just getting to know what their priorities are and where we might have some common ground. And I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question, we'll start with Nuzad, and that is, where does Moorhead Public Service purchase its electric power at this time? And if power is generated by fossil fuels, what action can the city take to move to renewable energy sources? So,
Moorhead Public Service, when it comes to, we got to find ways for renewable energy. It's not only the best way, it's the smartest way for not only our community but the environment. So we got some wind, solar thingies going, turbines, is that what you call them? And I think we need to have more of those in spaces that we have available, and just finding the best way. Solar energy, if it's available. I know we were in a meeting not too long ago, in a city meeting, and I believe his name is Bill, who runs the Moorhead Public Service, and he said solar energy is just not in our works right now. So I don't know how that is. I don't know if he's saying that because of profit or he's saying that because it's really true. But I'll definitely look into it, and we'll see how it goes. But being environmentally friendly is common sense.
Thank you. And Brenda.
Years before I was on the city council, I served as a citizen commissioner on Moorhead Public Service and really, really enjoyed that. And for our residents that might not know a lot about it, other than knowing it's a city utility, as opposed to an investor-owned utility like an Xcel Energy, where their dividends are paid to shareholders. Our dividends at our municipal utility are reinvested back into our community in keeping property taxes and investments in our capital resources throughout our city. So it is really nice that we have a municipal utility. I'm really proud of the fact that we've been on the cutting edge on renewable energy. We get largely our power from hydro, an allocation from the Missouri River, and then also some fossil fuels from, I think it's Laramie, Wyoming, a fossil fuel operation there. But the hydropower is significant, and I was at a presentation with MPS recently, and if you consider hydropower a renewable resource, and it is debatable, I see both sides, but if you include that and the wind power that we've had for many, many years, and now just recently our solar gardens, my family is a part of both of those, we are at almost 70% of our power in Moorhead, if you include the hydro as renewable energy. And so that's really, really cool. Of course, we can always do more. I think there's going to be a new installment of the solar, and that'll be exciting to see.
Thank you. Jonathan.
In the spirit of open and honest dialogue, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have to defer to Brent on that. I think the question was, where do we purchase it from?
That was the first part of the question.
Because I had no idea until she told me. So I'll be honest with that.
And then the second question is, what actions can the city take to move to renewable energy sources?
Well, and I'm still learning, but my understanding is when the city staff met with the candidates, that there was during the presentation, Mr. Schwant, if I'm pronouncing correctly, I believe the director had talked about the solar panel initiative, and I'm sorry, I got something in the mail. My wife has been bugging me about us getting on board with that, but I forgot the catchphrase for it. But my understanding is that MPS has been moving towards developing this renewable energy source, and he, again, deferring to those that are smarter than me, he was talking to me about the fact that the solar panel initiative is growing, and I believe they're up north by the wind turbines. He did talk to me about the fact that I think the wind turbines have reached their lifespan or something like that. So, but I like the initiative of the fact that we're getting more focused on renewable energy as a source. And I like also the fact that it's also keeping the potential prices down for, am I stopping? Okay. Because they're putting them up north instead of on the individual's homes.
Thank you. For the next question, we will start with Brenda. And that is, with the city changing over to LED street lighting, the monthly cost should be reducing significantly. Are you for reducing the monthly cost to the citizens or for shifting the money over to other areas? And if it's to other areas, what area and why?
This is something that is fairly recent, but that has been shown that we would see some cost savings. I know that Moorhead Public Service always has needs. They're talking about their future facilities, for example, and outgrowing their current space, so whether they would reinvest that in related operations. The city always has needs itself. And we do struggle a little bit with the utility on how much they should transfer over to the city for general use. But I see a lot of progress in that arena, especially as it relates to our budgeting. We have, just in the last few years, we've reached agreements on doing our budgeting with them more than 1 year at a time. So it kind of makes it a little more cooperative. It makes it a little bit so that you can plan ahead. Improving the relationship between the city and MPS. We're looking at new collaborations that we've never had before, expanding on others. It's hard to grasp that they are a city utility, but in our charter they are separate from the primary city operations. So there's lots of opportunity there.
Thank you. Jonathan.
You have to tell me that one more time, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. Okay. With the city changing over to LED street lighting, the monthly cost should be reducing significantly. Are you for reducing the monthly cost to the citizens or for shifting the money over to other areas? And if it's to other areas, what area and why?
Well, again, I knew about the LED switch. However, before I would make any type of decision like that, I would have to consult with the people that are familiar with that whole process. That's just a fair statement. I can't sit here tonight and tell you with a lack of education and knowledge that I would be in favor. I mean, of course, to the benefit of the citizens, anything you save would be good, right? I mean, we can all agree that we all want to have cuts so we can give more money to our families and do the things we want to do, pay more bills off. I get it. But I think without knowing what the effect would be in saving that cost, and, the borrow of old used phrase, robbing Peter to pay Paul, or doing things of that nature, I want to educate myself before I would commit to that publicly. And I think that's fair to you and fair to Mr. Schwant and the board at MPS. If there's a way to give back to the citizens and save you money, you know what? I would be for that. but I don't want to use that money and that savings that might be taking away from something else or something else that we could invest in. So I would like to be fair and do my education and talk to the people who know more about that before I make a commitment to you publicly.
Thank you. And Nuzad.
Well, when we talk about LED, we're talking about something very expensive in the beginning, but what is the benefit in the long run, which is going to be cost effective? And streetlights, we don't have enough of them, to be honest with you. We need to make Moorhead a bright city. There's a lot of neighborhoods, including mine. We have like one streetlight, and it goes on and off like constantly. And sometimes, I have my mom over, and she'll be walking. I'm like, I hope she's not too scared, walking in the dark. But, in the end, Moorhead needs to be a shining city on a hill, because when it is that, it cannot be hidden. We'll shine as a city.
Thank you. And I think we have time for one more question. Actually, I think we are out of time, and we need to get into closing statements. So with that, I believe it's Jonathan. We are starting with you.
Okay. And I have 90 seconds?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all tonight for coming and listening to all three of us. Hopefully, we've made your decision very tough. Here's the deal. When you look at experience, I'm hoping that you take a bigger picture look about experience. And here's the reason why. Your city council, your mayor needs to be building relationships with you, the people. The person who you elect in this position is going to be the person that's going to be your voice. And that's very important. For myself, and I hate self-promoting. Those of you who are close to me know that. But what I can tell you is this. If you elect me your mayor, I'm going to promise you that I will listen, I will care, I will have concern for your voice. We need to make decisions for the future. Fargo Forum article from Monday talked about the fact that we're in for a significant population boom. We're going to have 61,000 people projected by 2045. You need leadership in place that's thinking outside the box in order to make sure that we are prepared and we are staying one community for the long term. We have a lot of great things going on, and I am pumped and excited to get to work. But also, I'm excited to work with people who are also outside the box thinkers, people that we can bring together, people that we can build this community with businesses and make it strong. I'm hoping that you'll give me your support. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nuzad.
Ladies and gentlemen, as your next mayor, I will focus on taxes, flood diversion, downtown, education, businesses, empty buildings. These are some of the things that I will work on, because these are the issues that Moorhead has, and we need a lot of improvement. Brenda's a great gal. Jonathan, I've known him for a long time, great guy, but we have to look at who's going to bring the best value to our community. We need the right leadership, and we can't just have a mayor with an agenda. We need to have action, and when moving forward, we need to have a plan moving forward. Thank you very much, and I hope to be your next mayor.
Thank you. And Brenda.
Thank you. Moorhead needs a mayor who can not only lead our city, lead the council in a time that we really are at a point where great things are starting to happen. Not only in our downtown, where it's probably the most visible with new construction, new projects going on, but throughout the community. The amenities and facilities the council has been planning the last couple of years. That's going to attract new residents, young families, people who want things to do in their community. The partnerships that we're developing. We've had a lot of turnover on the city council in recent years, in my opinion. I think that constant on-the-job training holds Moorhead back. I will work to make it easier for businesses to expand and locate in Moorhead. I will work to keep property taxes in check and diversify our revenue. so that you are not so vulnerable to tax increases year after year that are not sustainable. I've been the voice on the council bringing new ideas for new revenue streams and new partnerships, new ways of doing things without cutting services that our growing city needs. I commit to you that I will listen to our residents. My agenda is not my agenda. It's the agenda that residents, that businesses have been telling me Moorhead so desperately needs. And so after knocking on thousands of doors since spring, that will be my agenda as well. I want to work for you. I want to be at the table with you.
Thank you. Thank you, candidates, for being here, and thank you, everyone, for coming, for asking the wonderful questions. We did not get to all of them, but we are starting the City Council Forum in about 10 minutes, so we will probably be able to get to some then, so if everyone wants to stick around. Also, I want to remind everyone that on October 4th, we will be doing the State Rep District 4A and 4B Forum at 6:30 and the Clay County Commission Forum at 7:30 for Districts 3 and 4, and also on October 11th, the Moorhead School Board at 6:30. So we will be switching this up and getting the City Council Forum underway shortly. Thank you.